Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The new project for the channel here is pulling up the driveway now, and it's actually for somebody else. I know a lot of times I say I don't work on other people's trucks because that's the biggest question I get is do you work on other people's trucks? And this time I made an exception because I don't normally do it. It's for a buddy, and it's for the guys at Complete Performance. Chris, he's actually bringing his 72 motorhome, and we're going to be doing a four-wheel drive conversion on it, and it's pulling up the driveway now, so let's go check it out. I think it's pretty sweet, isn't it? We're actually going to be doing a 7.3 Powerstroke swap on it too. That's what's in front of the truck there. We got big storms rolling into Oklahoma here. We're going to get this thing unloaded and parked in the barn, and we'll see you guys later and we'll check it out. All right, guys, well, we got it unloaded. We had a storm roll through last night, so we're doing the overview here in the morning. This is Chris from Complete Performance, one of the guys that I get all my parts from. He really helps out with a lot of projects, and since he helps me out, we're helping him out with this project here. It is a 72 Mitchell Ranger camper conversion truck that he picked up. How long have you had this thing now?
I picked it up 2 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yeah?
2 or 3. I have to go back and look. It's probably one of the nicest examples of a Mitchell motorhome out there, especially in a bump side. These things just got destroyed after so many years of nobody caring about them after they became 30, 40-year-old motorhomes. Yeah,
for sure. You know, the campers on them are just always trashed. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason you picked this one up, isn't it? Because you just the condition of the camper on the inside, it's just really. We'll go in there after a minute and show you guys around. But I see Denver there on the cow. Is that where this truck was sold new, I imagine?
Yeah, so Mitchell was a motorhome manufacturer just north of Denver. And for the life of me, I can't think of the name of the town right now. Somebody's going to watch this and be screaming at the camera. But anyway, so Fordland apparently got a lot of these Mitchell motorhomes and put them on their lot. Apparently they always had these motorhomes on their lot. And so it was sold new in Denver, Lakewood, and then it ended up making its way up to Wyoming, where I bought it. It was in Douglas, Wyoming. Phil actually had this thing for sale for probably over a year.
I remember seeing it for sale.
Apparently, it takes a special kind of person to want to buy a 50-year-old motorhome.
Well, we were just talking earlier that like the motorhomes today are they don't last. So this one being so old, it's kind of amazing that it's still in the shape that it is. I got a 2012 truck camper and the thing's got problems with, and this thing's still here in usable shape. Have you done much camping with it?
I actually haven't done any camping with it yet. What we've done is we went through and we modernized some of the interior of the motorhome, like with keeping the 1970s aesthetics, but like I wanted hot water, plenty of hot water, so we got rid of the 2 5-gallon propane bottles and put a 30-gallon horizontal mounted propane tank on it. We put an Insta-Hot hot water heater in it. We did some stuff like that. We didn't upgrade the light housings, but I put LED bulbs in the lights so that we could run longer on battery instead of having to run a generator. We also put an onboard generator in the old propane mounted box on the side or whatever, so that it kept its. I wanted to keep its look, but I also wanted it to be usable. So that's kind of where we are, and then we kind of got to the point where we are today, and the reason why it's here.
Well, before we get into why it's here, let's poke around this thing a little bit and show you guys around. First off, we have a Ranger, and one thing I noticed, if you notice the Ranger on the fender here, normally on a Ranger pickup, that badge would be on the bed, but since this is a cab and chassis truck, they always put the badges on the fender there. If you see a truck that's like that, that's actually the way Ford did it if it was a cab and chassis truck. So be it a custom, a Sport Custom, a Ranger XLT, it'd be on the fender there. So that's pretty neat. That's
not even something I knew.
Oh,
I didn't even know that.
I'm teaching some stuff here. So that's pretty cool. And it's camper special, obviously, since it's a camper conversion. It has to be a camper special. Really nice Ranger interior. We have some aftermarket carpet, obviously, but
The original vinyl's still under it.
oh, well, that's perfect.
You can peel it up kind of around where the 8-track is there in the floor, and it's still got black vinyl underneath it.
Speaking of 8-track, look at this thing. This is cool. Can you turn that on?
I sure can.
He did that when he got here. That was a trip.
That didn't work out.
Yeah.
Song went off.
That's all right to keep us from getting demonetized.
Probably. No doubt.
So really, really nice shape Ranger interior. This seat is in really nice shape. We got a pass through right there into the camper. Really nice dash pad. There's some of the work they did with the camper conversion into the headliner.
Something that's kind of neat that you probably wouldn't notice is they moved the dome light.
Oh yeah, I just now realized that.
When they cut the cab out, they had to move the dome light over so you'd still have a dome light in the cab.
Yeah.
Factory option midship truck, so it's got the factory switch here and the factory floor selector, but it also had saddle tanks on it, so that's actually a 3-way switch.
Yep. I've had one of those before.
Somebody at some point or another had removed this midship tank. There was midships on both sides. The fuel embargo of the 70s, they bought all that, and you probably needed all the fuel you could get in this thing.
About 120 miles probably.
Yeah, it's like driving a sail, but or a house, I guess, really. But that's where we mounted the propane tank, was there where the saddle tank on this side was, and then the generator housing on the other side where we took in the propane, it still had the saddle tank. So I utilized that saddle tank to fuel the generator instead of just running like a little small tank somewhere.
Yeah. Long run time.
Yep. That way I can get a long run time out of it.
Open up the power barn here. We got us a 390. Looks like we got a 4-barrel under there. I didn't notice that.
That's probably why it runs so good.
Probably so. Nice new Holly under there. We still have an OK stamp on the valve cover, so that's pretty neat. This thing runs pretty good. We drove in the shop.
To my knowledge, this is the unrebuilt original 390 that was in this thing. Somebody's done some headers on it and a 4-barrel, but I don't. The truck's only got 50,000 miles on it.
Oh yeah.
So.
Do we have any staples on the valve covers? Doesn't look like it. Looks like they probably.
So. They probably. I mean, they had.
They probably had to put gaskets in it and stuff, and just over the years doing general maintenance stuff. We got some neat lights here. Chris was showing me this when we got here last night. Those come out and they have a wind-up deal in them, so you can. We were thinking that was part of the camper conversion.
They spin out so you can use them as a work light.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that, but I thought that was pretty cool. Ingenuity of the 70s.
Well, this is all changing when it's going to leave here. Everything under the hood here. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go check out the inside of the camper, and then we'll talk about some upgrades we're going to be doing this thing.
Let you go ahead and go for it. Like I say, I didn't get rid of the factory housings because I wanted to keep the original aesthetics of the inside, but I wanted it to be a little more efficient than. This was an actual fluorescent light.
Yeah.
It actually had a fluorescent bulb in them.
Did you put solar on the roof, anything, or you have plans to?
I have plans to. Eventually, there where the roof rack is, I don't really need a roof rack, so I'll remove the roof rack and put some solar up there just to help maintain the batteries. But I haven't yet. We did put in. You can see down here. There's a diverter switch next to the inverter, so we put the shore power versus generator power in so that I could run it off grid. This thing was never built to be air conditioned. Obviously, up there you don't really need it. But we put in a 15,000 BTU AC system in the roof where there was a swamp cooler up there. Like so you can only imagine how humid that would be in Texas.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there was wallpaper here on all of this that we were able to save the original backing with this yellow, green, and I guess beige backing on the walls for the backsplash.
So there was wallpaper over that and you took it off?
Yeah, it was like white with a little blue pin strapping in it. It was awful, but you know. And then you can see this piece of carpet still here. This carpet was on the floors in here.
Oh, okay.
So it had a blue carpet on the floors, and then all the upholstery was blue. I actually found some upholstery that looks very similar to the original, what would have been in here. Tried to match the exterior color as best possible with fabric. And then when we peeled the carpet up, the original linoleum was on the floor, so I've been doing my best to get all the carpet glue and everything off of it. It's not perfect, but I'm going to save it because there's no replacing linoleum and making it look like this.
Imagine you can't even find something like that.
Brown, orange, and yellow houndstooth linoleum is just
Very
not a thing.
Very 70s,
Very.
but it fits the part.
And in the bathroom is as green as it can be, which is everything you would want a 1970s bathroom to look like.
Well, yeah, it's got to look the part. So this is pretty neat. So up here's the master suite. And then we have our guest quarters right here. And then we have the kitchen and the dining room. So yeah, we got us a nice little camper here.
And then so this here, it's kind of folded down into a twin bed now, but it folds up into a bench seat. And then obviously the table's not here, but that dinette folds down into a sleeping area as well. So enough room to keep quite a few quite a few people.
Got some neat mud flaps put on here. Those are gonna look sweet. So anyway, let's get out of here and we'll talk about what we're doing. All right, so now it comes to what we're doing to this truck and why it's here. Now, I know it seems like every truck I do, I always have the thought of doing a full drive conversion on because that's just what I like, and Chris is kind of the same way, I think. So
That's kind of a problem.
obviously, that's what we're doing with this thing. We're going to do a full drive conversion on this camper. It's going to be pretty cool when we're done. It's going to be like a more off-road oriented kind of a rig, or more of a get back in the backcountry a little bit more.
I like to call it my vintage earth roamer.
Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, we're going to put a Kincer full drive conversion under this thing, and it's going to stay dually. It's going to be 8-lug, and we're going to have their axle and everything built underneath it, and we're going to do a conversion. And we're also putting a 7.3 Powerstroke under the hood with a 5-speed ZF5. So this truck is going to be a lot taller. We're going to put some blocks in the rear, obviously, and Powerstroke power under the hood. So it is going to be all vintage looking on the outside with full drive and modern engine. Well, semi-modern. I guess it's 7.3 is not really modern anymore, but more modern than the 390 that's under the hood.
Well, I kind of wanted something that was still pretty easy to repair on the road. You know, like your crew cab with a 6.7 and whatnot in it. That's awesome. But I wanted something that I could carry basic tools, and parts are at every parts house. You know, you don't have to worry about anything special or whatnot. So that's kind of the reason for the ZF 5-speed. You just can't really do a 5-speed with a much more modern engine than that. So that and I kind of have a few 7.3s sitting around. So
Yeah, that is one thing. You know, we talk about complete performance, and I get parts for them and stuff, and the bump sides and stuff. But really, their bread and butter is the OBS Ford trucks. You know,
For sure.
they're big into that, and they're just recently getting into the older stuff. So they've been around for a long time and done a lot of stuff with the OBS trucks. And Chris has a pretty massive collection of them himself, and he's got a few bump sides too. But
it's kind of out of hand. It really is.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing content on this thing. Obviously, when we do the build. And we start getting parts rolling in for this thing, and we got to do some measurements for the axles and all that kind of stuff. We got to yank the 390 out and put the 7.3 in there. So it's going to be a very fun project. Chris is going to head back to Texas and leave this thing with me. And once we start on this project, I'll let you guys know. So give me a subscribe if you want to see this project. Give me a thumbs up if you like this camper. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, Chris.
Yes, sir. Thank you.